So in my project, I created a chompdrv.c file. This is how I compile it in the makefile, which is in the chompdrv directory. And I created a function that would take keys from uinput and write them to a file like here. And this function was taken from this link. But in the main function of this device driver that I created, I created a dev handle, and then I initialized that dev handle and had some error checking here. I then set the verbosity level to 3 here, and I opened that dev handle with the given vendor ID and product ID from the project spec, and I checked to make sure that it wasn't active, and I have an error check right here. I made sure to claim the interface of the device, the Chomp app device, and then I also I created a uinput setup using the uinput module from Linux, and I opened a file descriptor into the uinput file, where I then set up my keys here. I used an ABS absolute X and Y axis key here, and I also set up a key for a button joystick. And the event created in Linux would show up as JS0 because I'm using absolute X and Y and a joystick, and it's created right here as a node from UI dev create. And in my function, I have an infinite while loop that checks to make sure that when I bulk transfer from Chomp app, that I'm getting right data. If not, it'll break out. And from the data, R returns a single byte of information, one byte of binary information. And then I parse through that binary data here. And this returns an int of either zeros and ones, which is all binary. The first 3 bits are just padding. And then right here, I check the 3rd bit to see if it's 1. And that's whether or not the button joystick is pressed. And I check the 4th and 5th bits depending on if they're between 1, 2, or 3, and that determines the x-axis if it's negative 3,267 0 or positive that number. I do the same thing for the y-axis here. I check the bits 6 through 7, and that is the majority of the function here. And I make sure to destroy what I created in udev input and to release the interface I created with that dev handle and to close it the dev handle. And as a demonstration of the project, I will run Chomp app. I will attach that function. I will run it. These are just print statements. As you can see here, moving them does change it. Ooh. And if I run JTest, you can see here that the buttons work as intended. Up is positive, left is negative, buttons on, buttons off. And if I exit, it exits out here. And that's it.